Hello everybody, welcome to the Redmen TV. It is the beginning of March and therefore another episode of the monthly Liverpool Development Watch for you. My name is Ben Kelly. Let's just get right into it. It's been a bit of a quieter month for the loanees in truth, but it's picked up a little bit over the last few weeks or so. So let's just jump in and go to Belgium, to Taiwo Awoniyi, who's been absolutely clinical for Moose Gron over the last 7 games. He's scored 6 goals in his last 7 appearances. He's going really well there. He's obviously still one of the players who's trying to get that work permit to come and play for Liverpool and maybe in the future sometime, but right now he's out there in Belgium, he's doing the business. He had a real difficult loan with GAA again in the first half of the season, but since then he's cancelled that loan. Since January, since the turn of the year, he's come out to Moose Gron, and that is where he knows obviously he was there previously, and he's been doing the business for them. So hopefully when it comes to next season, I don't know if he has to do one more loan after this one to get to the right amount of points, because it's all a points-based system for the visas and the work permits and all that. But, you know, at the end of the day, he's looking like he could be a clinical striker, and whether Jurgen Klopp is actually paying any attention to him whatsoever, I don't know. But we will see in due course. There's been a bit of a drop-off for Harry Wilson over the last few weeks, as he's been not only a victim of his own poor form, but also the poor form of the team in general as well. The Rams actually haven't won since the 9th of Feb and have lost the last 4 games at the time of recording. They do play Wigan tonight, however. They got battered away at Aston Villa at the weekend. They were 4-0 down at half-time. Wilson didn't start that game. He came on later on. Similar, really, you know, the team aren't playing well. They're still in the shout for a playoff place. Like I say, you know, Wigan's a very winnable game at home for them tonight at time of recording. So, you know, that will put them right back in the conversation for that. But yeah, Frank Lampard's side have had a bit of a dip in form over the last few weeks. Now, actually, on the subscribers podcast that we put out on the website, the bonus Q&A, me and Chris did discuss Harry Wilson and where he might fit into the team later on. So if you fancy a bit more Harry Wilson chat, head over to the website and subscribe to the channel. It's free for a month. Just have a little look there and watch this week's subscribers bonus Q&A with me and Chris, where, yeah, like I say, we discuss Harry Wilson a little bit more. Up in Scotland, Ryan Kent is still enjoying a lot of playing time and having a lot of influence on the pitch for Rangers. He's got 5 assists in an unbeaten spell since the last show for Steven Gerrard's side. They sit 8 points behind Celtic in the Scottish Premiership, but they still have to play each other one more time, so that could be an absolutely massive game, that final Old Firm derby of the season. It's funny, Rangers have had a very similar season in a way to Liverpool. For Liverpool, it hasn't been quite as drastic, but Rangers' downfall this season has been the amount of games that they've drawn. They've actually lost the same amount of games as Celtic. They both lost 4 games, but I think Rangers have drawn 7 games at time of recording, and I think Celtic have only drawn 2, which has obviously given them that massive, you know, sort of push forward to go on and build up that gap between themselves and Rangers at the top of the table. But like I say, that Old Firm derby is going to be absolutely huge towards the end of the season. Then Rangers just have to hope that Celtic drop points. There may be a little bit of turbulence at the moment with Neil Lennon taking over from Brendan Rodgers, but you know, it's tough because Celtic have so much quality in their side for that division. It's tough to see them, you know, dropping 8 points really to allow Rangers to catch up with them and potentially take the cycle. It'd be an absolutely fantastic thing if Steven Gerrard could do that in his first season as a first team manager, but you know, I think he'll definitely look on to build on the squad that he's got currently during the summer and go into next season and put together a more firm title challenge. Kamil Grabara has made a good start to life at AGS Arus, playing maximum minutes so far and only losing once in his first 5 games. He's only conceded 2 league goals as well. Actually, at the time of recording the last show, I think they were playing that evening. They won that evening, and then obviously he's had a few games over the course of the last month. You know, he's playing all the time. He's a young goalie, but they're playing him. First team squad member. He's doing quite well out there. He's only let a few goals in, and again, this is just a loan that we're just going to have to keep an eye on. You know, a month in, you can't really tell too much, but you know, over the coming shows, over the coming months, we'll be able to learn a little bit more about whether or not he's going to be doing enough to guarantee a future at Liverpool beyond the summer. Nathaniel Clyne is continuing as Bournemouth's first choice right back and is proving his worth with some typically solid defensive Nathaniel Clyne performances. You know, I don't feel like I mean, I will, but I don't feel like I need to bring everybody too much of an update on Nathaniel Clyne every month, because everybody knows how good Nathaniel Clyne is. He's a solid Premier League footballer. Whether he'll stay at Liverpool beyond the summer, I'm not sure. You know, that's down to him more than Jurgen Klopp. I think he'll be wanting to push away and further his career rather than play second fiddle basically to a 20-year-old, and you can't really argue with that. But obviously he played at the weekend against Manchester City for Bournemouth, and they were good at Bournemouth. I mean, the approach, you know, you can discuss that all you want, but you know, they sat very deep, and for the majority of the game they defended very well, and Nathaniel Clyne was a key part of that really for Eddie Howe's side. So look, Clyne is a good player. He's going to continue playing for Bournemouth. Hopefully he'll chip in with a few goals and assists. Obviously, the one criticism that we've always had of him was that he was never really, you know, chipping in the other end of the pitch, and I think that's where in the end Trent has ended up overtaking him in the pecking order in the eyes of Jurgen Klopp, because you know, we've all seen the quality of his delivery of the ball, you know, particularly against Watford. Trent, you know, gets a hat-trick of assists. Clyne was never ever going to do that, and I think that's why Klopp has prioritised him. But he's a good squad player if that's what he wants to be. I don't think that's what he'll want to be, and I think, to be honest, it'll be moved on in the summer, but we'll wait and see. And finally, Herbie Kane also remains a mainstay in the Doncaster Rovers midfield. He's been chipping in with a few more goals and assists of recent too. Look, we've talked about this on recent shows over this season. He's absolutely loved in the Doncaster Rovers team, by the fans, by the manager. His hard work rate, you know, his tackling, his positional play is all second to none really for that level. Whether he can push on maybe next season and go to a championship side and do the same sort of level of performances, then we'll know if we've got really a top quality midfielder on our hands. But you know, it's really great to see him doing well at Doncaster. And on to the youth sides then. The under-23s saw their long unbeaten run lasting from November come to an end on Monday as they lost a mini derby 2-0 at home to Everton at Anfield. Power shift. Yeah, so I was there on Monday night. I was in the press box. I got a chance to look at the teams up close and personal. Neil Critchley put out a strong side, but they were very poor, to be honest, and it was quite disappointing because it was actually a while since I'd been to a game, so I was quite looking forward to it, particularly with it being at Anfield as well. Everton are top of the league, and you know, almost rightly so, given the performances from both sides from the night. You know, Keller started in goal and made a couple of crucial saves, really good saves. It just wasn't great from them. There was a lack of creativity. There was a period sort of towards the end of the first half and then in the first 10 minutes of the second half where you thought, well, maybe Liverpool can produce something here. But certainly for the first half an hour, Liverpool were bad. Just didn't really show up at all. Everton scored after 10 minutes and were just in control really for the majority of it. You know, they've got some really good players, some players that I think towards the end of the season Marco Silva might call up and start playing in the first team a little bit. They got the second goal with about 5 minutes to play, and yeah, they controlled the game throughout. And you know, it's a weird thing. Everton winning a derby at Anfield, but it happened, and you know, Liverpool will have to recover when they go to Derby on Friday, or they host Derby on Friday. I don't know if they're home or away, but Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain may well be in contention to play in that game. His first competitive football, since last April, obviously in that Champions League game where he hurt his knee. I really hope he plays, and I'll be able to tell you if he plays. Hopefully by the time we do the next show, he's in the first team, back in the first team, making a couple of appearances for Jurgen. But you know, I wish him the best of luck if he does compete against Derby. You know, hopefully he comes on and just gets a bit of confidence back into himself and starts playing the football that we all know he can play. Regarding some of the individual performances from the mini derby, I thought Adam Lewis and Ben Woodburn were particularly poor. To be honest, in the second half, I forgot Ben Woodburn was playing, which is alarming really, because Ben Woodburn was this fella that we all thought was going to be the guy, and he's kind of tailed off. And I think I've said on previous shows, I just don't see him making it in this Liverpool squad anymore. I just think we're too good, particularly, you know, in terms of attacking players. Okay, the front three aren't particularly in great form at the moment, but overall they're still world-class forwards, and I just don't see a world at the moment where players like Ben Woodburn, even Rafa Camacho, you know, Curtis Jones really get a look in at first team level. I love Curtis Jones. I think he's a fantastic player, but at the moment, where Where does he fit into this Liverpool squad? I don't know. Only time will tell, you know, as we head towards the end of this season, and also as we go into the pre-season as well. You know, that's the only time we can really get up close and personal and see these players properly play among the first team. That's during pre-season. And we're not getting that opportunity at the moment until the summer. So Ki-Jana Hoever also played at right back and was positionally quite poor. He's very good on the ball, but both him and Adam Lewis, you know, as wing backs, both of them were caught out a couple of times positionally, but also just done by the wingers. Like there was one moment in the first half where Adam Lewis thought he could win a ball, basically thought he could nip in ahead of a winger and nick the ball off him, and the winger just turned him and just went, and then he was out the game, and he's running down the line. I can't really remember what came of it. It wasn't the goal, but you know, it's situations like that where decision making, you can tell the young fullbacks just aren't quite as, they just don't really have the experience. They are the moments where you really appreciate just how good Trent Alexander-Arnold is, because, you know, Trent's had a few stinkers in a Liverpool shirt at first team level, but he's always learned from that. You know, I remember one particular incident that I can liken to the fullbacks last night was, you know, away at Roma, where I think it was their second goal on the night, where early on in the move, Trent thinks he can win the ball, nips in, it goes past him, and then they go through and score. He's learned from that though, and you know, he doesn't do that as often anymore. His positional play is a lot better, his decision making is a lot better, and you know, I can just think at the moment for his age, you can barely appreciate just how good he is at that sort of thing for his age. Even as somebody who didn't even come into the team really as a right back, he came in as a midfielder, he's had to learn all this stuff on the job, and he's done it so brilliantly, and I think it goes really underappreciated how far or how much Trent Alexander-Arnold has developed over the last few months. Liverpool under-18s sit top of the under-18s Premier League, 3 points clear of the derby as they continue to fire in the goals. They're also through to the quarter-finals of the FA Youth Cup after beating Wigan 2-0 in the previous round in February. Other than that, they've seen big wins versus Stoke and Blackburn recently. They beat Blackburn 7-1. The two goal machines, Bobby Duncan and Paul Glatzel, grabbing the headlines at that age group as always, and they just show no signs of slowing down. Both players actually are continuing to get a look in now at under 23 level, and Glatzel has scored twice for Neil Critchley's side over the last month, which is really interesting because Bobby Duncan was the one getting a look in before Glatzel, and now they both are, and Glatzel has actually been the one performing, you know, with the goals for Critchley's side at that level. So really interesting stuff. They are the real standout players though when they play for the under-18s, and that level's just too easy for them now. It's really clear to see. Hopefully, between now and the end of the season, Glatzel keeps performing at the under-23s level, because, as I said, I think I said it on the podcast before when we were talking about the under-23s game with Chris. It really is quite underrated for me just how much of a jump the under-18s, the under-23s is. You know, that's such a big leap in quality. So if Glatzel can sort of replicate the form at the under-18s at the under-23 level, that's when you begin to think, I think, from a manager's perspective, from Jurgen Klopp's perspective, it's kind of like, oh, okay, now you've got my attention. You know, you look at under-18s players and you go, well, come and talk to me when you're doing it under-23s. Come and talk to me when you're doing it on loan. Now, if they can start doing it at this level, maybe Jurgen Klopp raises an eyebrow and go, okay, well, suddenly you're in my pre-season plans. Suddenly, maybe I'm looking at loaning you out to a championship side to get some minutes there. You know, this now is the key level in the 23s. If you can really catch the attention at the under 23s level, then you're really setting yourself on the right path for later down in your career, basically. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching as always. Do the usual stuff, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment down below, like the video. Also follow me on Twitter at bkelly776. I will be back in April for another Liverpool Development Watch update. Thanks for watching again. Bye-bye.